I am ready.
I'm ready too, mate. Bam, we are back. Hey, welcome to Roll for Effort, everybody. I am here tonight with Grandmaster Joseph Sterling.
And I am here with the maestro, the Morgul himself, Jason Scranton.
That's me.
Keeper of the natural 20s.
Keeper of the natural 20s. Alright, as many of you have probably figured out at this point, we've moved all of our live plays over to our new live play channel. So go check that out if you want to catch any of our games.
Yep, link down in the description to the archive.
Yep, link down in the description. Tonight is the night that we dedicate to talking about our journal, our DM journal, right? So, Joe, in the last few weeks or month, in the last month, what have you learned? What has happened in the Bad Moon campaign?
Right. Well, definitely things are starting to heat up. The time frame of when this threat of which, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's not a threat. We'll have to see what that happens. But this plot of these children that have gone missing from all of these different worlds leading up to the ritual by the Naglord to open doors to all planes is drawing ever closer. In the previous month here, we had that big awesome moment where Elric had submitted himself as kind of prisoner to the church, calling sanctuary because of these alleged crimes that the bishop had cast forth and set wanted posters out for you and Minimus, or for Elric and Minimus. And the morning came where you came out, robed in like the white vestments and stood into this massive pyre, while the others were, trying to garner support and everything, trying to push that fact that the bishop was full of crap and he was lying about this shit.
Yeah.
And while Elric was inside, kind of started discovering that there were some not so, I guess, honest folk around, because there were explosives set to go off with the flame inside the pyre.
Moment. I was so certain I was going to die. The moment you mentioned that there were explosives, I was like, I'm done.
Right?
Rolling your danger.
Right? That was definitely a scary moment. It was cool though, like the reactions from all you guys and the way that whole scene played out was pretty amazing. And we did have, we had a couple bye weeks. Life happens. Sometimes games have to postpone and such.
Yeah.
But when we came back, we were dealing a lot with the aftermath of that, and finding out that not only the stuff with the bishop who was turned to stone and getting scattered off, but dealing with this aftermath of trying to sway more people to, I guess, kind of give aid, as well as finding out that the Lady Harrowmore's daughter had gone missing, which kind of started touching into some of the story of the character Kreb, who has done work for the Lady Harrowmore before. So there was kind of a detour going up there because he was dead set on like, wait a minute, Violet's missing. Because some of his backstory is, he had participated in little tournaments that were held at the Harrowmore Keep.
Yeah.
And the daughter, Violet, this 6-year-old girl, has always picked Kreb as her champion. So he kind of, had this little, kind of big brotherish relationship with this young girl.
Yeah.
So he's really like, I gotta save her. Like, holy shit, she's missing.
And that was interesting because we had no idea that Kreb had that deep of a relationship, and I feel that it was a really nice moment and testament to our group strength that everybody just sort of went with the flow when it happened, because he literally was like, bye, and literally left the stage that we were on, left the room that we were in, went and found a horse, and was like riding north, and we were all like, wait, you should hold on.
Right? We're coming too. Yeah, that was really cool to see the whole group pull together and just be like, hey, you've helped us this far. If you've got a problem, we're going to come and help. Like, that was cool to see everybody pull in and just like, let's go figure this out.
Yeah.
And so, you guys, rode it wasn't a far journey. It was like an hour by horseback, if that, to get up to the Harrowmore Keep along the cliffside. Where you kind of got the skinny that she had already had, the girl had been missing for 3 days. She had other, hirelings, soldier types or whatever, warrior types that she had sent out in search of her. That they had tracked her to the ruined Abbey of St. Cloud, which is a location that Elric had already kind of mentioned in previous games of wanting to go to and figure out what was going on there with some of the kind of stories of like whatever bad things had happened. And so everybody kind of like turned right around. They got horses from Lady Harrowmore, picked up a couple villagers back in town that were also willing to go and lend a hand, which I'll have Beatles names: John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
That was great too. I didn't even notice it. I think it was Dennis, right?
Yeah,
Dennis
pointed it out.
Was like, "It's the Beatles?" And I was like, "Whoa!"
Right, Ringo's waiting with the horses. Yeah, at the site, you guys got your first bit going up. The surface ruins, seeing the disrepair of everything, and had an encounter that could have gone very bad with a specter. You met a ghost of a slain priest, or not slain, but one of the deceased, and had discovered that in this graveyard, 4 of the graves were dug up, or who knows how long ago, looked like by potential looters, and those happened to be the 4 spirits that were wandering around. And in the social aspect, you guys turned around and decided, under the tutelage and guidance of Elric, the cleric, to rebury them, to put them back to rest and give a little prayer over the bodies, which released them all back up into their heaven, as opposed to wandering lost and confused and aimless. And that could have been a gnarly encounter if that went combat. I mean, nobody's got any magic items, so you wouldn't have been able to hit them, and it could potentially be bad.
That flowed out. I was expecting like a slog of skeletons and zombies and like just having to fight through like waves of undead. So when it was just like a ghost, and it was such a fun, unexpected encounter because I didn't realize that it would be a social encounter.
Neither did I at first.
Yeah,
it could have gone either way.
Yeah, so it was so pleasing that it was so different in how it worked. And
well, that's the other thing. I really hyped you guys up with the rumors that people had about her, about the dead coming to life, and of course you guys found out that there was a lot more oomph added to all of these rumors when you actually got there and saw for yourself.
Right.
But and that led into discovering other things about the opulence of the abbot's tomb. He had the whole crypt all to himself in this mausoleum, and with what you discovered from the ghosts of some of the priests themselves about some forbidden ritual that they performed to try and resurrect St. Cloud, which obviously from what you guys discovered down underground did not quite seem to go so well, as there's some form of cult. Yeah. And those were some great moments down there, finding the secret entrance and.
There was this really cool moment too where we were surrounded, outnumbered,
very much
2-1 almost, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna die. If I'm gonna die, at least it's gonna be a blaze of glory." So Elric takes his sword,
blazing,
smashes it against his lamp, covers it in flaming oil, flies down these stairs and dives into this mob of cultists, and boom! Natural 20 on the attack.
That 20.
Beheaded 2 of them in one go. It was just, oh god, it was so good. It was
epic. That was the stuff of big damn heroes.
Yeah,
and then it
had so much fun playing that.
Then it turned out the other folks, that larger group that was back in that in the priory or in the tabernacle, which they were doing some weird rite, slammed the door. They had some stuff going on that you guys weren't privy to at the time, and when you went back in, they were all gone. They had previously used some sort of teleport magic to throw Kreb out of the room.
Yeah.
But then, lo and behold, they sent this undead abomination that just came rampaging through from the other side, and that was potentially very dangerous.
There's so many clutch moments in that. Dennis's character
doing the super. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, because that room, right? Like Minimus almost died. He almost blowed himself up. Except that Dennis managed to save the day by dispelling this magical trap before it blew him up. And then there's that scene with the abomination with Crab leaping down on top of it with his hammer.
With the hammer. Same big damn hero stuff that Elric had
so
pulled.
good.
Like,
oh my god, so much fun.
And man, like, you guys have no idea. Like, I kept referring back to these notes, and I'm like, oh my god, if these things hit, it is going to be devastating. And they really could be. Like, I mean, those low rolls I had and on not being able to strike, you guys will see, because I'm bringing more. And I do need to point out for anybody that is watching, following along with those, so it is the Abbey, the ruined Abbey of St. Cloud out of Dolmenwood. But I'm taking quite a few liberties with that whole thing to fit with the narrative of the story that we have going on. Not just the story that I'm telling, but the story that you guys have with your characters and with their different stories all kind of coming together and everything kind of just coming into a delicious soup.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is a tasty broth between everybody's work.
And that's a real staple of your DMing style, Joe. You're fairly good at adapting and improving the character story to settings. Like, you're so good at that. And
that's part of the things I enjoy, man. I like weaving everybody's thing because it is a collaborative effort. We're all around the table. It's not just me. Like, if it was just me telling a story, I'd write another book. Yeah, but so. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think you're about to talk about what I was about to talk about.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up, that's kind of, the things that have been happening throughout, kind of a recap of Bad Moon through this last month. But let's jump over and talk about the experiences down in the Barrow Maze, like the brutality and evil of this wonderful, wonderful nugget that you have placed before us all.
Yes. So every Saturday that I can do it, I am running a extreme sandbox cut of Barrow Maze using the 5 Torches Deep system.
Yes.
Splice them with a little bit of ICRPG, because they all work together really nicely.
Yeah, they really, really do.
They really do. And that game has completely blown me away because I started it as an experiment. I wanted to play a game where I prepped for it exactly once, as in I set up the setting at the start in Roll20, and then I walk away, and I don't touch it until it is 8:30 Saturday night Central Time game time, right? And I built it so that we bring in a random group of players every time, although it has ended up being somewhat consistent, the people who keep coming back, because they started to form a story, which is not at all like the intention of it, but it's been working, so I'm not going to fight it. And so it's been an amazing learning process. I typed up a very kind of in-depth what I've learned post that I posted on the Runehammer forum, and it's also in our Roll for Effort Facebook if anyone wants to catch that.
It's a good write-up too, folks. It's a good write-up. Definitely check that out.
It's been neat, because when this first started, everyone was first sort of trolling around the woods mostly, not really going towards the Barrow Maze at all. It wasn't until maybe our 5th game or 6th game that you guys started sort of heading down into the swamps to even see what the Barrow Maze was about.
5 games in, 8 character deaths. Yeah,
8 character deaths. Actually, I think we might be up to 10, but it's just been so much fun to run, and the story has really started to explode because there are all these intrigues that are built into the setting, into the NPCs that are there. And so that was part of it, right? Like, when I set it up, I created a little card for every NPC, and I dumped in straight copy and pasted from the Barrow Maze book, the NPC's little paragraph backstory on the card, so that when we're playing the game, I can flip it up and look at it while I'm talking with you guys playing the NPC. And it turned out that there was this trader living in the town who was at the chapel, and I decided he was going to make his move, right? Because we were, 6 games in. So he poisons the head cleric, puts him out of commission, right? Which stops the players from being able to go back to him for a lot of healing and tech care and that kind of thing.
Yes.
And then I staged a massive zombie attack on the whole town from the Barrow-Maze by the Orcus cult.
Orcus.
Right, exactly. And it worked out so well because in the middle of this battle, then we sort of triggered, and that even that happened outside of the game. It sort of spontaneously happening in the Barrow-Maze chat channel, which you can go look at if you go in our Discord server. One of the main reoccurring heroes that keeps coming back in the games, Jimmy, the halfling, takes his girlfriend, who just agreed to go off and live happily ever after with him.
They were going to retire.
They were going to retire. He literally puts her into the care of the trader that's at the chapel while the zombie attack is going on. And so I was like, well, I have no choice. And Jimmy, of course, was like, no, you had a choice, you bastard. But
yeah, and from the Game Master's perspective,
no,
there was no choice.
There's no choice. This is story, right? This isn't a story that I came up with or that anyone else came up with. This is a story that is unfolded and is unmistakable and is here. The damsel is now in the hands of the villain, and so, of course, after the battle ends, she's missing, along with most of the village who've been taken and carried back to the Barrow-Maze to be used as food and fodder for the armies of the dead that are being formed down there by the different powers who are conducting their dark deed. Can't reveal it all because Joe is here and he's one of the regular attendees.
Yes.
But
the peril is important because the peril is the landscape of heroes.
Right. And this game, what has been beautiful about it is that I don't, like I said, there's no prep. I don't have a Dungeon Master's Journal running on it. I type my notes in Roll20 as we play it, and I walk away from that game table, and it's done. Other than maybe some chat that goes on in the chat when people want to role play a little bit there. But outside of that, it's all there on the table. I don't do any prep for it. We just walk in. And so this very last run was amazing. It's the very first time that they approached the central mound. They decided to go down into the maze. There's a major trap room right there at the entrance that they totally walked straight into. Almost. Right? It would have been a killer. I'm certain that, that players who have been gaining levels would have died if they had triggered the trap just right. Because basically you go in, and there's a hallway off to the left. And when you go down the hallway, there's a room. And there's a pressure plate right there at the door of the room. And I believe that traps, like you, as a dungeon master, I make them typically very obvious. Like, I have the players roll, and I describe that it looks funny.
The thing I really liked the way you handled that is the first people that went up there was the wizard. Yeah. And you handled it because, a much more intellectual character that you pointed out that he noticed something strange. Like, I almost would imagine that, some of the less smart stuff, like Pravda, not so smart.
Yeah.
That he might not be privy to notice things like that. But I really like the fact that, depending on the character type, like even with Jimmy, he's a thief, or he's the rogue type.
Yeah.
Like, they were much more apt to be able to see this thing, like it was a more obvious thing. And to the intellectual, like the mage, I really like that they kind of played to those strengths of the characters, and that was really slick.
Yeah, I think it's kind of unfair to just swipe players without giving them a chance. So he was there. He did a really nice perception check of the room, and I was like, well, the floor tile looks a little bit off towards the entrance there, right in front of you. And sure enough, they figured out that it was that it triggered a false wall would have dropped off. So if a player had stepped in there, a wall would have dropped, and a door across the room would have opened, and 7 skeletons in the book, 7 skeletons pour out of the door and will kill and murder everybody in that room. So what do? They realize the trap was there. They jump over it. There's the next door. They go ahead and open the door. Skeletons pour out. There's an encounter. The skeletons are trying to push past them to trigger the trap.
To seal us all in there.
Right, to seal you all in there. And so a great encounter sort of flowed out of that, where everyone was very skillfully sort of keeping the skeletons at bay while trying to like maneuver the trap just right, and which made it great because then you could require like a dex check to sort of try and skip over the trap during the battle, and it's
for those trying to get out of the room.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. That works so well. I cannot believe no one died. I can't believe that you all lived.
All right, well, I almost didn't. I got dropped, and oh man, who else dropped? Like, two of us did drop. We didn't die because, luckily they were able to dispatch like the last two skeletons.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was getting close.
Yeah. I don't think anyone lost any appendages.
Nope.
No.
Just a busted ankle for one of the guys,
there you go.
I ended up shaking. I got lucky on my roll.
Yeah. Which was nice because then you can use the healing hit to sort of free that. Anyway, it's been a beautiful experience. Fire Torches Deep is such a great system. I think that's going to be the next one that we cover in depth during our System Curious talks.
And next, from the player side, we're attempting to use that secure room with that dropping wall to try and set up a base camp so we can take safe rests right in there so we don't have to do that extra travel back and forth.
Yeah, ingenious, because I hadn't thought of that. They're like, if it looks just like a wall and like it drops down, like could we use this as a safe room? And I was like, yeah,
right?
I kind of think you could.
Right?
So.
Potentially, like we'll see if we can get it to work or not. I mean, it's a wee bit of danger.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, anyway, so the games we've been running, so much fun, so good. If anyone's interested in joining the Bear Remains game, I mean, it is limited seating, unfortunately. I can't have dozens of people in there at once, but usually have like one or two seats open, and I throw that out there. And when they are open, it goes public to anyone who wants to join.
Right in our local the RFE Discord.
Yeah, so just watch the RFE Discord if you are interested in making it. I do tend to offer the seats to the people who were there the previous week, just because it was a nice, give them a chance first, since a lot of them are like super invested in at this point.
But also,
drop in and drop out.
Yeah, investment aside, like we're also really cool people. We're not gonna fill it up and not let other people in there. Like if folks really want to get in, a lot of us, we're cool enough. We have no problem stepping back to offer the seat up to get folks in and get playing, especially now in this time.
Yeah. And we may be starting up some additional games. We've been chatting about a lot of that, so we'll see what happens. So stay tuned. Keep watching. Please like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Stay safe out there, guys, with the pandemic that's going around the globe. Stay healthy so you can play many more role-playing games in the future. And take care.
Yeah, and if you do want to watch any of the gameplays of the games we record, pop on over to the Roll for Effort, game archive, where we are loading up all of these live play games, or all of these actual plays.
Yep, the name is down below. It's going to be down below in the chat, so check that out. Thank you again, and have an absolutely wonderful evening.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Man, I absolutely love those games.
Yeah. Oh, they've been fantastic. Like, both sides, all sides.
All sides, yeah. Absolutely fantastic.